Hey, welcome back. This is Jana from Pearl Together, and I just wanted to say well done finishing your harvest sweater. So let's get to the very little tidbit nitpicky parts at the end, which is just weaving in all those little ends, going over your whole sweater inside and out, making sure you have all the tidbits trimmed off, or the little sticky outy bits from when you wove in a tail. There might be just a teeny bit of it sticking out, so you want to deal with that. And then I'll show you how I like to block my garment, and blocking just means you're going to get it wet or damp and then just press it out, and so that it dries in the shape that you want it to be. Like socks, I normally don't block them unless they're for a gift, then I might. It's for me, then I just wear them. But for this sweater, in my case, is for a gift, and so I do want to, it's for my sister, and so I do want to pick off all the cat hair, and then I want to soak it. I'm not going to agitate it or anything like that. I'm just going to dampen it, or in my case, I'm going to actually get it all the way wet, and then I'm just going to press it out on some towels in the shape that I want it to be. So, all right, check it out. Let's do it. All right, so now I've actually finished knitting the entire sweater, and I'm going to go back through. I'm going to go over everything on the inside. I'm going to find all the little tidbits like that I need to weave in and trim off and deal with. And then I'm going to show you how I choose to block this sweater, and I'm going to just get it damp, and then I'll show you how I block it, and like pick off the lint and the cat hair, because this is a gift, and my sister's actually allergic to cats, which is unfortunate. So all I'm going to do on this little tidbit, this is where I had a tag left over from the Russian join, and it's really small to be able to put on the needle first and then weave in. So actually what I'm going to do is pick a spot to weave the needle in first, then I will thread the needle afterwards. So that just makes it a little easier to pull the tag in through, and then I'll just trim it off. I mean, I already know that it's secure. This is just how I like to do that. So I'm just going to give that a little tug, and before I trim it off, I'm going to put my thumb there to mark the place, and I'm going to actually turn it over and make sure that I can't see that going up through, because that would be, if it made a line diagonally because of the way I threaded it through, that would look kind of silly, wouldn't it? So I can't see where I did that. Whoops, sorry about that, bump in the tripod. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that off because I'm okay with how it looks on the finished side. And I'm going to trim off this other little tidbit, okay? And I'm going to go through and see if there's any, here's another one. Here's another little tidbit that I need to trim so it's flush. Obviously, you're just being super careful not to cut your actual sweater, because that'd be a big bummer if you made a hole. Okay, and then this is where I had the sleeve join, where I picked up those stitches. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to go through and make sure everything's cleaned up and nice. Alright, so my sweater is done. I've trimmed off all the edges. One thing I want to point out that I'm not super happy with is you can kind of see a line right here. I mean, I know it's subtle, and when you're wearing the sweater and you're out in the world, then I don't really think it's super noticeable, but I can see it. And that's where I joined another skein. And so, it is what it is, and it's not very expensive yarn, but I think that illustrates the reason why you'd want to make sure that to buy all of the yarn you need all at once, so that you know that it's all came from the same dye lot, and it all should match that way. So clearly there's a slight difference there, so I'm not super happy about that, but it's also not that big of a deal. And then you can see a similar issue here, a bit here at the top. So that's all right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it in the sink, and I'm going to get it wet. Then I'm going to dry it by just mashing it with towels to get the excess water out, and then I'll block it. Alright, I've dampened the sweater. Actually, it's pretty wet. I let it soak for a few minutes in the sink of water, so it's pretty saturated. And then all I did was I pressed it down in the bottom of the sink to remove a bunch of the water. And now what I'm going to do is just roll it up in these beach towels, and then I'm going to press it. You don't want to wring it. You don't want to twist it or wring it, because then that will distort the shape. So I would not recommend that. This is really hard to do one-handed. I'm just going to roll it up in here, and then I'm just going to press it so that the beach towel wicks away some more of that water. I have in the past also put things in the spin cycle of, but I don't know if that distorts it or not. And I have other stuff in the washing machine right now, so that's why I'm not doing that. So I'm just going to do this, and then I'll probably do it again with a different towel that's dry so it absorbs more, and then I'll go lay it out and block it. All right, so I've laid out the damp sweater on a couple of towels on a bed in our guest room, and I've just, pressed it all down as flat and as straight as I can. And then I'm just gonna leave it here to dry and close the door so the cats don't lounge on it anymore. So, show me your finished objects of your harvest sweater on our Finished Object Friday thread in the Facebook group and the Ravelry group. I look forward to seeing your projects. Okay, and we're done. So now I'm just gonna let that sweater dry, and then I'm gonna put it in a nice gift box and with a card and all that, and then I'm gonna save it for a few months because she's not gonna get it early. Her birthday's not for several months. So I'm really happy that you followed along with me, and congratulations on completing your sweater. Whether it's your first one or your fifth one, I'm happy that you did this with me. So join us for our next knit along, which is going to start probably right after Labor Day. If you're watching this 6 months from now, then follow along with the knitting videos if you want to. We have chosen to do mittens next because lots of people live where it's cold and we're going into the fall season. So join us on our Facebook group or the Ravelry group, where we're currently having a discussion about what pattern that we want to do for that next sloth series knit along. All right, if you find these videos helpful, as always, push that like and subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you in our groups. All right, take care.